Well, guys, welcome back to another episode of Grease Garage, where we are going to attempt to now put this back together after I've pretty much stripped everything off it. There's a list, and I've made a list. Everyone loves a good list written on something. There's a whole bunch on there. We got to do hydraulic tensioner, spark plug leads, harmonic balancer, thermostat, the whole works. There's a lot to go, so buckle up. I have Stu here, Screaming Warthog on Facebook, who'll be here to give me a hand, and hopefully we're heading in the right direction, and at the end of this video you might see something pretty cool. Buckle up, let's go.
Now, you have seen before that Ben loves a good limiter bashing, and I am right there with him, as it also brings a smile to my face, even though my eardrums are begging for mercy. But something that doesn't like it is cheap Ben's Chinese hydraulic tensioner. And that is what Ben is fixing first off today.
Shiny things.
So if you find yourself in the same spot, this is what you're going to need to remove to get this job done. Now, normally you would start by draining your coolant and removing your radiator and the fan. But in this case, or should I say Ben's case, removing the gooch is the first step, followed by the aluminium brackets, the harmonic balancer, and finally the plastic timing cover, which exposes the timing belt. Now, changing the tensioner is the easy part. The hard bit is getting this pulley in the right spot, as you're meant to use this tool. Of course, if you're in a pinch, you can always use the I'm not asking bar.
Well, guys, one of the jobs that we have to do is replacing the harmonic balancer. Now, if some of you remember the previous videos, we had issues with the car, and one of that was that the crank pulley setup was moving and the roll pin had snapped off. Now, when that roll pin had snapped off, the harmonic balancer, this is the original one here, had actually moved on the motor. So essentially the motor had turned and this had sort of stayed, and it's grooved the inside of this, meaning that we now no longer have a flat and true surface for this to bolt up to. So essentially it's a giant paperweight, and that one's going in the bin. And here we have ourselves a nice shiny new one, and of course eBay's cheapest, sorted and filtered, brought to you by myself, sticking true to the cheap Ben name.
Now, before the boys install the new balancer, they're going to have to check everything. So first thing is, they're going to do 2 full rotations of the engine to make sure the belt is tight and all the timing marks are lining up. Then it's time to put everything back together. Now, to be honest, I've never seen a tool that looks like this before, but it seems that Ben has found some sort of pitchfork and is using it to lock the harmonic balancer into place. Normally I use the belt trick, but this looks way quicker.
170. 180. Now.
Woo! Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know.
Hey, look, I'm not saying it doesn't.
Right, guys, as you can see, we've been cracking away on the front half of this engine, and one of the things that we've had to do is install some knock sensors. Now, some of the later model Mitsubishi stuff has them and whatnot, but because of the older ECU and what we're trying to achieve out of this car, there was no way that we could tie it into the Haltech. So we've managed to pick up this knock sensor unit by Fowler Motorsport, and we'll put the link in the description below as to where to buy this from. No affiliation whatsoever, but it allows us to mount 2 knock sensors onto the block. You can run one, you don't have to run the 2, but being a V6, obviously we want the best amount of knock control possible. So we've managed to find 2 holes in the block, as in threaded holes, bolted them in place, and just for the moment we're just gonna zip tie them up out the way and maybe run the wiring into the cab, but it's not what we need to achieve today. It's just that whilst this radiator is not on the car, it is so much easier. So that's another job ticked off the list, and now we can actually start putting the front end back together.
So a keen eye would have noticed that thermostat housing was off. And before Ben and Stuart start putting everything back on, Ben has decided to replace the thermostat. And it's lucky he did actually. He found that the old one was upside down. Now it's important to have the thermostat bleeding hole at the top of the thermostat. This allows air to get out and prevents any trapped air, which could have been the reason why this engine was always getting so hot. Anyway, after that's done, it's time for the boys to start putting this engine back together. Now notice that Stuart has an hacksaw and he is cutting that harmonic balancer. That's because cheap Ben, buying cheap stuff, ends up getting a cheap product, and the timing mark was actually in the wrong
What one's
spot.
that for?
That's the timing mark.
Oh, the actual timing mark.
Yeah.
Do we do that in a different color though?
We'll do it in white.
So that is generally something that you should probably watch out for if you go down the same route. Now if you look, Ben is in the background playing with that wastegate, adding extra springs. So I don't know how much boost he thinks he's going to add to this thing, but he's putting in all the springs. So I'm a bit concerned, because remember, this thing isn't tuned properly and it's still a stock engine. But I'm sure Ben's going to be responsible and not take this thing for a drive. Wait, hang on, we're not there just yet. I know you guys really want to see this, and you will at the very end of this episode. But these guys are still struggling with this radiator, so let's go back to Ben and Stuart and see what they're getting up to.
To take the gooch out.
Argue all the time with it. Okay, hang on. Just wait.
Yeah.
Let me get this side in first.
Yeah.
So roll that side out again.
Yep.
Okay, let me go right past like that.
Yep.
Now try that side. Is that going to go in?
Almost. I've got one little spot here. I just need a bit higher up.
A bit higher up.
A bit higher up, and then we're good. I said it's R&D, mate. We're just figuring out what works.
Okay, so that side. Oh.
Yep, that's what we want. Hang on, let me just go underneath here. Well, guys, as you can see, the Triton is back together. Now, we have done a little bit of a fire up just to make sure that we had no major leaks and nothing was gonna go wrong. But as it stands, we are ready to drop the flush out of the radiator and put some proper coolant in here, run this up to temperature and hopefully pressurize the system properly. Going back to our list, new tensioner plug leads, done. Harmonic balancer, done. Thermostat and the coolant, it's coming, but it's done. The wastegate spring, that's done. I'll tell you more about that on dyno day. Fit in the radiator, knock sensors done, and whatever we forgot. Well, whatever we forgot was that starter motor, because that starter motor was horrendous. When we started it up, it sounded like I had rod knock. So yeah, in between these cycles, I've climbed onto the car and put back to the OEM starter motor, and fingers crossed, we have no more problems from here until the next time. And the next time will hopefully be on the dyno. Well guys, as always, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and we'll put some outro footage of the car starting up and running and hopefully enjoy it. Thanks very much. See ya.